Show you how to gut a doe quickly and efficiently, minimizing the mess that you have, and also just positioning and all of those things that make things a lot easier for you. So I have the deer with the belly facing downhill, slightly on a slope here, and the rectum back here is also facing downhill, so this makes life a lot easier for the way the blood rolls. So got my knife, outdoor edge, and some gloves, and we're ready to go. Alright, so you're going to start back here in the back. What I like to do is take the deer and position it in this position here. A lot of times I'll just stand on the chest so that I'm holding the chest down, and I'll go around the rectum here, and I just make a big cut inside of the rectum and go around the sides of it. I put my fingers in there to try to pull it out. This makes it real clean and simple to get the everything to come out at one time without making a big mess. You just try to stay out of the meat. This is probably the most critical part, so keep the urine and stuff off of your meat. Usually I'll reach inside once I've made a couple cuts and just make sure it's loose inside, all the way around in a circle. That's very key to the rest of it. So then I take one leg and step on it there. The doe's still facing downhill. I go around the side here and I cut around the milk sac there, and I come on around it. I don't puncture through yet until I get around the milk sac, and once I get around there, I just use my hand to hold up and continue going around it. That keeps the blood from doing it. So then I cut a small sliver through the muscle tissue that holds the gut in place, and I start straightening my cut up. And I just use my two fingers to pull in as I'm cutting, and I just leave the knife sitting on top. There's no need to put the knife inside, because when you put the knife inside, a lot of times you'll get guts. And so cut all the way to the sternum and let everything pop out. Try your best not to touch the stomach, because that stinks when you do. So you're just kind of letting it come out on the side there. You're giving it room. If this deer was on its back, it wouldn't have the room, and therefore you'd run the risk of puncturing the stomach really easily. So once you've done that, reach inside and give yourself some more room by pulling the organs out. And then what I do is I reach inside here and I cut the diaphragm at the top. The key to this, the reason I do this is to allow all the blood to stay low and my hands not to get so messy. So then I reach inside of here all the way until I feel the diaphragm. The diaphragm is very rigid and is in the very front of the deer. It's pretty easy to feel once you've done a couple of these. I cut through that and the esophagus. One good solid cut, and you see I'm not very bloody. Then I reach inside where I cut that diaphragm and I put my middle finger inside of it. And then I pull everything out, and everything starts to come out pretty easily. And you may have to make one cut here and there, but for the most part, everything comes fairly simple. And just kind of pull on it. and then start pulling out the bladder and the large intestines back here in the back. You've already made your cut inside, so it really makes it a lot simpler to reach your fingers through the pelvis and pull all that out in one pull, and it's very clean. So the deer has no vitals left inside of her, and all you got to do now is cut the bottom of the diaphragm and you've completely gutted the deer. One other thing I'll do is go ahead and cut this milk sac off by going around it and not touching it, because of the fact that she was still nursing, so I don't want to cut that and make that get on the milk, so I just cut around it and cut it completely off without losing any milk. All right, and the deer is gutted completely. There is no organs left inside. All of it came out at one time. You can see that it's all one piece, and pretty simple to do. I always like to look at my shot. There, it went through the heart there and the lungs there. So that's it. And then all the blood comes out the side there, and you can clean it out and let it drain. Everything is drained pretty well, and that's complete.